What is up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the LG V30. So this phone ranges from around 150 to 200 bucks. Depends on whether you want it renewed or new. It's going to range in that price range. And this is a pretty interesting phone because it's still kind of, I guess, it competes with the G7 a little bit in the price point, which we're going to do a comparison with that and the V40. But very interesting because it's not a dated phone at all when it comes to the specs. It's actually still pretty good. So it came out in 2017, so it's not super old because it was December 5th, so technically kind of like 2018. But you have a premium design on here. Still looks really good. This is actually my favorite color, this silver color. I wish the I could get the V40 or V50 in this color as well. Looks really nice, and you don't see as many fingerprints, which is something that I really appreciate. You do have IP68 dust and water resistant on here. So for the display, it's actually one of the smaller displays at a 6-inch. Now I know that's not super compact, but compared to the G7 lineup, this is the smallest one. I think the next smallest one would be the G7 at 6.1 inches, but it's definitely smaller than the G7 as well. But like I said, we'll compare those tomorrow. But this has a 1440p display, 537 for the PPI. Still a really good display. It's a P OLED display, so you can take advantage of that always on display. And the display looks great as we would expect. It's your standard LG display here that we all know and love. So very good for display. It's plenty bright for outdoors, so no issues at all with that. Now this came with Android 7.1.2, and now you have Android 9 on here, but this will not be getting the Android 10 update. LG did not put this on the list for Android 10, so this is the last update for it. So if you want Android 10, there's probably a hacking community that can port it, but you won't get it officially. So you do have the Snapdragon 835 along with the Adreno 540. And playing games on here and just going through the OS has been a breeze. You really don't notice a big difference from the 835 and the 845. So playing games like Subway Surfer or Call of Duty Mobile was just fine on here. I was able to play on high, so we are going to do a gaming test because I know there's a lot of people that really curious about this phone. So gaming performance on here is just fine, so no real issues there. And this phone actually doesn't really heat up at all, which I was surprised with. It just does not get hot really, so I was really surprised. I think this is one of the first phones that just stays super cool like this. So you do have micro SD support on here, so you can expand that storage of 64 gigs of internal storage with 4 gigs of RAM on here. So like I said, no issues with performance with Android 9. It's pretty much the same as on the G7 or V40. Just to talk about some more additional features, you do have NFC on here along with the quad DAC, so that is on here for the audio fans, Bluetooth 5.0, and you also have just really good single firing speaker on here. It's very loud. I'll go ahead and let you guys hear the audio. So let's go ahead and talk about the camera setup on here. So it's a 16 megapixel standard and a 13 megapixel ultra wide. You have 4K 30 FPS, and for the front facing camera it's a 5 megapixel 1080p 30 FPS. And the cameras on here are decent for this price point. It takes pictures along the lines of what you would expect from a pretty much like a budget phone that just came out this year or something like that. So it takes pictures online with that, so it's not going to be anything crazy that's going to blow you away. Dynamic range is fine. Color accuracy is okay. It's not super accurate. It's sometimes makes things a little bit darker, or the colors a little bit more darker than they actually are. But overall, I found the photo quality to be fine. It wasn't a huge letdown. The fingerprint scanner on the back is actually the power button as well, so there's no dedicated power button on this phone, so that's something that you're either gonna love or hate. Me personally, it's not a big deal, and the fingerprint scanner is fine, works fast. So you have a 3,300 milliamp battery with 18-watt fast charging. So you also have wireless charging at 10 watts. So as you can see, this is really a true flagship, and it beats a lot of budget phones at this price point. When it comes to features, it just out features and out specs most phones at this price point. So I guess one of the unique things with this phone is that the battery life is actually pretty good on this phone. That 3,300 milliamp battery is pretty good, even with 1440p up. Playing heavy games and stuff. The standby time is really good, so I was impressed with the battery life. You can definitely get all day battery life with this phone, which is something that I really like. So I was not expecting this phone to be so good at battery life. Now, I guess the unique thing about this phone is definitely, like I said, the price point, but it is very compact, smaller than the G7, even when it comes to the body. Even though the display is just slightly smaller, the body of this phone is smaller as well. So if you're really into just like you want a smaller phone that you can kind of grip with one hand, you don't have to shimmy, this is a phone to look at, and it's really not really lacking in anything. The specs are fine. It's kind of sad that it's not going to get Android 10, but the display is great. It's got all of the pretty much flagship features. So this is a super solid phone. So I know you can get this much cheaper on eBay, but you got to kind of be mindful of sellers sometimes. But yeah, this is a really good phone. So I was really impressed with it. I'm glad that I checked it out. So what do you guys think? Be sure to subscribe for the comparisons for tomorrow, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.